Welcome to another fascinating part of teaching and learning. And in this fascinating part, we're going to remember the often forgotten, most important people in teaching and learning, and that is the parents. So what we want to do is understand more the position of the parents, understand how we relate to them in a respectful and clear manner. And then after that, we can look at advice parents can give to their children to help them in their learning process. When that is done, we'll take a little look at some of the resources we have that we can share with parents. Let's start by putting the parent in context. So we have a society, and within that society we have schools, and the schools have a job to do, which is to build the educational outputs, to build the quality of people as future members of society, and we have parents and we have children. The parents are the essential link. We have the child who is going to learn, but their parents make a lot of very important decisions about what that child does in school. What we need to do as teachers is we need to make sure that that parent knows about what is happening in school. Perhaps also we need to let the parent know about how to educate their child, because often in language teaching and learning, parents make a number of mistakes. So as teachers, we can offer guidance to the parents. The thing that we have to keep in mind is that for the child, the parent is the most important. So our relationship with the parent is very important. And for the school, the parent is the most important, because the parent ultimately makes the decision on which school their child goes to. So what we want to look at over the next while in this presentation is how we as teachers can learn more from parents, how we can develop our relationship with parents, and how the parents in turn can improve the learning that their children do both in school and at home. It is not uncommon to see a parent go into a school and for that parent to perhaps sit down somewhere and largely be ignored. Yeah. The teachers are busy doing things, and perhaps the staff are busy doing other things. And sometimes parents think that really they are only noticed several times a year, when they pay their fees, maybe when they get a report, and then when it comes to renewing their fees. Sometimes parents feel that we don't really value them, that we don't really respect them as important parts of the educational community. So the first thing that we want to make sure that we do for parents is make sure that you notice them. So we'll go into this in a little bit more detail, but as a teacher, the absolute first thing you should do when you see a parent is greet them in a bright, friendly, clear voice, using their name to let them know that they are welcome in the school. When you do that, then parents notice you. Yeah. And the truth is that for most parents, the school is the teacher. Yeah. Parents like to think that they're going to send their kids to a good school, but ultimately what they do is they believe the school will have good teachers. And if they have a teacher who is in a class with their children and the teacher is a good teacher, then they're very, very happy, because their relationship is with the teacher and the child. So number one, we want to make sure that we have a good relationship with the parent. Number two, when we are talking to that parent, we want them to notice that we are professional, that we are clear, that we are precise, that when we give them feedback, we're doing it in an informed and honest and friendly way. So parents want to notice that we notice them, and that when we notice them, we are being professional in how we do that. We also want the parents to know that when we do things at school, and it doesn't really matter what it is, but the parents need to be informed about the educational benefits of particular activities, especially when it comes to language learning. They may not know that, for example, if they want their child to become a very good language user, then they must have playful times with language. They may not know that if they want their child to develop confidence in language use, then maybe an occasional drama class is also good for them. So one of our jobs as teachers is to, one, be noticed by the parents, and two, be professional and informed in terms of what we tell them and how we tell it to them. So we have those wonderful parents, and we want them to believe in us. And sometimes parents have little doubts. They know that the teacher teaches English, but strangely, they never see that teacher speaking English to another teacher, or they never see that teacher speaking English to anyone on staff. And this creates for parents a little sense of doubt, like, can the teachers actually speak English, or do they only really know a few words that they use in class? So this is, when you do this, an opportunity for parents to get to believe in you more. So if they're in school and there you are and you're speaking to another teacher in English, or you're teaching it to, or you're speaking to the admin staff in English, they go, whoa, that's really good. These teachers are very professional. So that's what we want to see. That's what the parents want to see, and that will encourage in them a belief in you as a professional teacher. They also really want to see that what the kids have learned doesn't stay in the classroom, because they know that ultimately language learning is about, making their kids a little bit more worldly, a bit more international, a bit more capable in the future. So if you can get those kids to use English outside the classroom. So if they go home and they sing songs in English, or they do chants, or any other thing in English, well, then the parents are very happy, because they are already seeing that the child has moved their language competence into the home, and they can feel good in using it there. If you want parents to be really, really happy, let them see two kids outside classroom talking to one another in English. Then the parent feels so much happiness, they might even cry. So you can achieve that, then the parents really believe that the school is doing wonderful things. So the last thing that parents are very aware of, and for them is an important issue, very important issue, is that their kids are in a class. They know if the kid is happy. They know if the kid is working, if the kid is achieving. And of course, none of that will be the case if the kid is in the wrong class. It's probably the best predictor of unhappy kids if they're in the wrong class, either too high or too low. You know about this already because of the inputs that we've done on placement testing. But key thing is make sure the kids are in the right class. Then you've got happy parents who believe in the quality of the teacher and the school. There is always a requirement for evidence. You know, when you love someone, you've been married to them for a whole bunch of years, they also require evidence. Every now and then, it's got to be flowers, yeah. It's got to be something different. It's got to be something special to provide evidence that you do actually love them. And parents are the same. They need to see evidence. So they've got a kid in your school. Every now and then, of course, you're going to give them reports, a fairly general report on what their skill level is like, or it could be marks, what grades they got for this and that. You've got to do those. You've also got to make sure that you do real diagnostics. So if you're talking about the kid's handwriting, yeah, you need to say very clearly, he can form the letter A and D and F well, yeah, needs some help with S. Yeah, the diagnostic has to be specific. When you're talking about the kid's voice, you can say he responds within 1 second or 2 seconds when I ask a question. Yeah, when he speaks at a good word speed with good rising and falling intonation pattern. So you've got to give parents diagnostics as well. Then they believe that you know what they're doing. You also need to make sure that you're giving them evidence on reading skills. So what is their reading achievement? How many words have they read in the previous week? Or how many words do they read per week? What level of reading are they at? And are they in fact on a reading program? Have you provided them with books so that they're progressing in their reading, or do they have some really good online reading system like Oxford provides? So you really want to provide that sort of information to the parent. If you can get the child to go home and interact with their mum and dad at home, then that is really wonderful. If you can get, and not just mum and dad, grandma, grandpa, brilliant. So if the kid can come home and then, pretend to be the teacher and perhaps teach grandma and grandpa what they've learned, or walk around the house and identify things, then that's a really, really wonderful thing, because in that, parents can get complete proof that that kid has learned language. If also in the school, and I'm sure you'll do this, if you can have kids do performances. And I know that we do speech performance and all that, and that's lovely. I did a lot of that myself as a kid. It's a really good thing to do, but maybe other things as well, some drama performance or something that displays that they've got high skill in language, even to the extent of reciting some traditional English poem. But yeah, for the parents, give them evidence that the kids are achieving. So when those parents arrive in the school, the moment they arrive, make sure you greet them. Make sure you greet them in a really friendly way, greet them in Chinese and in English, because the environment of the school is Chinese and English, and you want them to feel that they are part of it, not just visitors who are from a different place, who speak a different language or anything like that. You want to deliberately invite them in to the learning culture of your school. So greet them in Chinese and in English. And of course, after you've greeted them, see if they're comfortable. Can I get you a seat? Yeah. Can I offer you a cup of tea? Is the Wi-Fi good enough? Yeah. Is there anything else I can bring you? Yeah. So be very aware of the fact that those parents are in your school and you want to treat them like honored guests. So look after them as well as you possibly can. On the next level, and a very important level, is treat parents like intelligent human beings, yeah? Not just the people who provide the money and provide the children, but intelligent human beings. Don't feel afraid to say to a parent, let me tell you something about learning. Yeah, let me tell you something about how children learn language. Let me tell you something about how they learn things at different ages. And in doing that, you're showing respect for the parent and also showing that you are very professional and you're not afraid to share your knowledge. If you can, and this is a really, really wonderful thing to do, see if you can run evenings at your school or run evenings online where you have a speaker from your local community who's going to talk about perhaps culture. It could be anything to do with Chinese culture, it could be international culture, or they could talk about music, or they could talk about art. There's a whole number of things that they could talk about. They could talk about wine, they could talk about food, but the message that you're giving parents is that you value them, that you respect them, and when you do that, you will find that they believe in you. The parent will come into the school for a meeting, and sometimes they will be okay, very comfortable about the meeting, and then you're fine with that. Sometimes they will come in and they will be aggressive. Sometimes they'll be very shy or very nervous or unsure about what to do about their child, the child that they love, and that they want to believe is perfect, but they know maybe isn't. So they come in and they meet you. Try when you meet them to be prepared. When you say something, be brief. Yeah, don't talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. Be prepared and be brief. Make key points. After you've made your key points and you're listening to them, make sure that when they say something, you take notes to indicate that you are listening to them. If you want to talk further to them, refer to your notes, the ones that you've made earlier, and perhaps the ones that you have made about what the parent has said. So you're communicating with them, primarily you're listening to them. Yeah, you listen a lot, you talk less. So the parent might be talking to you, observe them. How comfortable are they feeling? What is their body language telling you? What is their tone of voice telling you? What can you do to make them feel like they are sitting with a professional who wants to help them and wants to help their child? If you can do that, you've gone a really, really long way to making that parent feel very good. Now, when you're talking to a parent, pause. If you ask them a question, pause. Don't jump in with the answer. Yeah, it's a weakness we have sometimes as teachers, that we ask a question and then we wait 1 second and then we give the answer. When you ask the parent a question about something, wait, be patient, be calm, and then the parent will understand that you are a calm and confident professional that they want to work with. Sometimes the hardest thing to do is to be clear and honest without offending the parent. It can be quite difficult. And I remember when I was a child that my mother went to school to talk with the teacher because it was, normal reports time. And my teacher, who was a very nice guy, was talking to my mother. My mother told me afterwards, which I thought was very funny, that he said, yes, Frank is good at talking. He likes to entertain people by talking quite a lot. Now, what that really meant is Frank actually disturbs other children. He talks too much. But the teacher was very, very skilled in his delivery of that point, so that when I went home, my mother said to me, "You need to talk less in the classroom." And it hasn't worked. But anyway, that's the funny part of it. When you are the teacher, try and phrase the child's challenges in a positive way. As a kind of administrative or a management thing, try not to have the child with you when you're talking to the parent. Try and perhaps go and get them to draw something or write something so that you can talk openly and honestly with the parent. When you're talking openly and honestly with the parent, because you know what you both want, yeah? You want the child to be better in his studies, you want him or her to be better as a person. So you're going to ask the parent questions about the child at home, yeah? So at home, is he very active? At home, does he concentrate well when you ask him to do things? Is he attentive when he's doing his study? Ask those questions, because sometimes the child at home and the child at school are very different. Yeah, then you can share with the parent what the child is like in the class, and maybe the parent can do something for that child by saying to them, look, you do this at home, you need to do more of it at school, or you're doing this very well at school, I think you should also do more of that at home. Yeah, so you and the parent can work together as a team. Now, when you're talking about the child, when you're talking to the parent about the child, be factual. Yeah, give clear, precise information. I think we've mentioned this already in terms of any diagnostics that you do, but parents really, really appreciate that. You know, if you even something as basic as of the 100 lessons we have had this term, he has been on time for all of them. Wow. Like, okay, that doesn't sound a lot, it doesn't sound amazing, but it's a really nice positive piece of information to give the parent. And if there are negatives, like 4 times this term, I've really had to tell Frank to talk less, for example. You know what it's like when you come to an end of a meeting and everyone goes away. You think, what was that meeting about? What did we learn? And sometimes meetings are exactly that, aren't they? People talk la 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 la, and at the end you think, what did we do? What did we achieve? You don't want the parent to feel that. At the end of the meeting, you want to sum it up. You want to look at your notes and say to the parent, okay, so it's been really lovely meeting you again. And so, you know, obviously you're going to thank them at the very end, but you're going to say it's been lovely meeting you again. And tonight we've talked about 5 things. And let me just check those with you. We've talked about this, 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 and this. What we're going to do later is my homework as the teacher is I'm going to do this. So you can expect that I'm going to be doing this in class, or I'm going to be doing this with the girl or the boy to help them improve. Now, my notes suggest that you're going to do some things as well. Can you tell me what they are going to be? Yeah, get the parent to verbalize what they're going to do, because you want an outcome from the meeting. You don't want just a little dance where you exchange a few words and go your own way. You don't want that. You want a meeting that has particular outcomes. Now, when you get towards the end of that meeting, give the parents some guidance. Now we're going to look at what that guidance is in the next few minutes of this presentation, but you want to give them guidance about what you think they could do at home to improve the child's attitude or the child's learning. When you finish, of course, you will thank them in a highly professional way. Say that you appreciate their time and that you feel that the time that you've spent in the meeting will bring real benefit for the child and for the mother and for you.